We all recall that on February 28, 2026, Trump and Israel launched Operation Epic Fury, a surprise joint strike campaign that hit Iran's military command, their nuclear infrastructure, their missile production facilities, and their senior leadership simultaneously. Within hours of the opening strike, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, was dead, was unalive. A surprise joint strike campaign that hit Iran military command center, including their nuclear infrastructure, their missile production, and so on and so forth. The Army Chief of Staff also was unalive. The entire top-tier military and political leadership was decapitated in a single operational window. So Iran retaliated immediately. Missiles and drones started falling, started raining across the region. 27 US bases were struck. Bahrain, 5th Fleet headquarters, took east. Kuwait airport was targeted. Gulf state that had nothing to do with the opening strike found themselves caught in the crossfire. And as of today, 15th of March 2026, which is the day 15 of this war, the day 15 of this conflict, the United States and Israel continue striking targets across Iran, including missile sites in Isfahan province. Iran continues to retaliate. The death toll inside Iran alone has crossed 1,300, right? And also, over 570 have been killed in Lebanon as Hezbollah rejoined the fight. 12 has been also confirmed killed in Israel. And critically, Iran has effectively shut down the Strait of Hormuz to commercial shipping, and that's sending crude oil past $100 a barrel and throwing global energy market into turmoil. That's the reality of where we are now. And who knows, before the end of March, probably it's going to cross about $200 per barrel. I mean, that is the kinetic picture. But as significant as those numbers are, the real story that will define the doctrine of future warfare is happening on different battlefield entirely. And that's what I want to talk about today. Let me tell you something that should stop every military strategist, every cybersecurity professional, and every national security and policymakers in their tracks. The United States military has now publicly acknowledged and on record that the first move in a major kinetic war was a cyber operation. That has been confirmed. General Dan Kane, that's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said at a press briefing, and I want you to hear this carefully. He confirmed that coordinated space and cyber operation effectively disrupted communication and sensor networks across entire areas of responsibility, leaving the adversary without the ability to see, coordinate, or respond effectively. Think about what that means operationally. Before the first Tomahawk missile hit the target, Iran was already blind. Its radar network was dark. Its communication was severe. Its command and control infrastructure was already in chaos. The IRGC, that's the name of their military wing, could not call its unit could not call each other. Israel sources went further. They describe it as the largest cyber attack in history, and Western intelligence confirming that the destruction of RGC communication infrastructure was entirely deliberate, and the goal was to prevent Iran from coordinating a countermeasure and to disrupt its ability to launch drones and ballistic missiles in critical opening hours. And they did that successfully. Now, here is where it gets even more operationally significant. At the same moment, those cyber strikes were eating military communications. A parallel operation was underway against Iran's civilian information infrastructure because the IRNA news agency, that's Iran's official state news outlet, went dark immediately. The RGC-linked Tasnim news agency was hacked and forced to display anti-Khamenei messages, and Iran internet connectivity collapsed for 4% of normal. Yes, 4%. And that means 90% of Iran internet traffic simply stopped. In the first hours of the war, Iran was not only militarily blind, it was informationally isolated from itself and from the world. And that's what they did. And all those things happen not in kinetic war, and that's just in cyberspace. Now, let me add one more layer, to that most mainstream coverage has missed entirely because somebody reported this. The internet blackout served a dual purpose. Yes, it was partly defensive, a kind of defensive move by the Iranian regime. Cutting connectivity limit the effectiveness for further cyber intrusion, but also created a fog of war that served multiple actors simultaneously, including Iranian state propaganda, which I will talk about today. I'm talking about the disinformation segment of it. According to Lawfare, it documented what they called a 4-hour cyber window, the period during which cyber operations were most effective, roughly the first 4 hours of the conflict before Iran's countermeasure kicked in and chaos of falling bombs disrupted the entire pattern of life, including the cyber intelligence. Everything has been tracked. After that window, the utility of pre-planted cyber tools declined significantly. The bombs themselves disrupted the surveillance environment that made precision targeting impossible. That is a doctrine-level finding, and it tells us that in future conflicts of this nature, the cyber window is not unlimited. It is time asset. Use it or you lose it. That's the reality.